I should have a seat at the table, albeit in pajamas, but telling the government how it's really done and what really goes on and what we really see.
I want to start off by talking about BStrong. If you don't mind, take me through your church experience that you had connected to the LA wildfires.
So that mission was different because we were going to a church and their pastor had told all these different people that I was going to come and that we were going to help these people. So I showed up and I saw all these blank faces, and you could just tell that the vibe was like, what the hell is this like glossy celebrity gonna show up here and do? You know, like it just was, there was a vibe. Like it's, you know, you're, I'm not particularly charming, but your charm isn't like, these people lost everything. They were zombies. It was like they looked like they were completely traumatized. And I just one by one started connecting to them. And it was like this like sort of bridge to trust. It was a very unusual thing. And then we walked inside and I just started talking to them about that they're in for the fight of their lives and that this is a community now and these are your people and that we're gonna give you guys each other's information and this church will be sort of your hub, and how I wanted them to have a voice, and I didn't want people to think that this whole thing was reduced to rich people because they didn't feel seen. And there hasn't been a disaster, we've been all over the world and I haven't seen a disaster yet where, do not get me wrong when I say rich and poor are affected equally, because rich could have another house or have money in the bank, but the actual just feeling of your life being incinerated, your memories from right behind you, and like you had a house yesterday and you don't today, or with your kids or the school, or that was something that I had not seen before, where two groups I had seen it affect. So they were feeling completely overshadowed because this was happening in California. Mm-hmm. They have no house, they have no belongings, they have no accordion folder with who to call their insurance adjuster with. They have nothing. Some of them didn't have a wallet. They just ran out of the house like they were told, as a, you know, just because we have to. It's not going to happen to us.
A couple people close to you told me that it was a feeling there that day for you unlike anything you'd ever experienced.
Yeah, it was the most moving, meaningful thing, because I don't want to cry so early, because I had this wave of thought. I called someone from my team and I was like, I feel like I'm like this one woman. I walked in and she said, I knew you would come. And I was like, it was just like, she knew I would come. I don't know that I knew that I would come, you know? And so we gave her a cash card and some of the essentials, I believe, that week. That was a day we were just sort of assessing, but you don't ever show up without cash cards, just you never know what you're gonna run into. And that's a model that I did invent. And so this woman then came, I guess, to the church because she was from that community. When I really initiate and I really like dig in and decide, like, we are gonna raise some serious money right now, it happens. And that feels like a superpower. So being able to go in and this woman say, I knew you would come, and then to just have the words, like the words for a while, I easily spoke 25 minutes, nothing was prepared, to like have all of the words and the tools and the inspiration to like tell them what their plan's gonna be, what they're gonna do, who they are to each other. Like, you know, that's where I thrive, like the communication and the organization. Like it had like some sort of logistical sentimentality at the same time, which is what they needed. They don't want just a hug, but they also don't want just money. They want like, because some of them were like, okay, I don't know what to do with all this stuff, and not for me, like all this piled in stadiums. And I was like, no, you're gonna go to this hotel that we're gonna give you $1,500 for this week, and you're gonna just get your head together, because you can't think now, because you haven't slept for 48 hours, and you're panicked that you have to grab everything, because you know the headlines are leaving, and no one's paying attention to you. But we have a warehouse that'll be here for a year. We have a warehouse, millions of dollars of aid in Miami that is always there. And we'll be involved with relocation and rebuild, but like, this is what you're gonna do now. They wanted like someone to tell them where to go. Like, it was the Poseidon Adventure, and they were going to the wrong, you know, end of the boat. And I was like, no, you gotta get your together now. You know, and they liked that, because it was like, everyone's just hugging and praying, and it's like, that's great, but we have to, you guys have, you have to get organized and rest.
So explain the warehouses and the cash cards.
So years ago when I went to Hurricane Harvey and I just scrounged together $300,000 with no one helping me. Like, I called flip-flop companies and mattress companies, and just because I was a public person, got nothing.
And to give context, you guys have donated how much now through
We've
BStrong?
raised in aid and money about $408 million.
Yeah.
So a lot.
Yeah.
And so, but it's not about that. It's about the way that we spend the dollar. We can go like literally line item by line item against the government and show you how we spend, which is why I should have a seat at the table, albeit in pajamas, but telling the government how it's really done and what really goes on and what we really see. We really do see like dumpsters filled with like government trucks filled with water. Like, it's just like, people want to check the box and do things, but it's not the things that are needed. You know, I'm not saying that when they give checks, it's not appreciated. I'm not saying, yeah, they're not first. It's just what it is. So the model, what happened was years ago, I chartered a plane and I wanted to go to Puerto Rico. I just wanted to get in motion and do something. I was calling every rich person I know. The richest people I know in this industry, nothing, crickets. And then this woman said, I know this one guy, Michael. He has a warehouse in Miami and he's been praying for a plane. So he had an empty warehouse, a small warehouse. It was sort of like a person who has the heart to do humanitarian work, a person who has the experience and has done missions on his own, but no means to get fuel in the tank. And so I went to this warehouse. He said, I want you to be the head of this, and we could do this and we could do that. And I'm like, no, I'm doing one. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing one plane into Puerto Rico. If I ever did something like this would have to be organized and merchandised. It would have to feel like you're walking into a Costco with areas and dignified, and there would have to be these, and this is not all the same day, but crisis kits, because I noticed that we were going with trucks to neighborhoods and they were like taking paper towels and rice off the back of a truck and like tampons in different sizes. It wasn't dignified at all. Like people feeling desperate, waiting behind a truck. They don't even know what's in it. We pulled up. The state building was literally moments away with guys in khakis and shirts doing nothing. And we pulled up and people were like desperately getting stuff off the trucks. So I was like, no, we need crisis kits. There are things that everybody in this situation would need at what I invented as phase 0. And they need these things. It's before you can spend money. There might not be a power, there's not electricity, you can't use a credit card, you can't get to town. This is pre-needing money. But then at phase, let's say 1, you need these cash cards, because it also infuses money back into your community that has lost everything too. So it's doing 2 things. And you need the diapers in your own size and the formula and what you want to buy. So that became the cash card model that I really jammed in and forced, and it took a while. We were first getting cards from stores, and then it became like my own cards with my own, it says BStrong, and how is this person's information connected in, so it's all totally legitimate. You know exactly who's getting the money and where it's going. And then it became this model where we would amass aid, because what would happen was during Hurricane Maria, every church, every high school, everyone was raising aid, but they had no distribution model, because you can't raise aid and not distribute it. It's illegal. Like, you can't take aid or money without a real means of distribution. So I started this model where I was talking to people all over the country and saying, no, well, you'll pay for it. I know you have 15 million pounds of aid. We will move it. We're going to start with cargo ships after the 53 planes, and we will move it, but you have to get it to us. So people started trucking all their aid to us. Then other orgs come with their trucks or their small churches, their small hospitals, and they come get their aid from us. So we've become like a not-for-profit fulfillment center, only with vetted charities. And in LA, it won't be people coming to us for the most part. It will be us going to different communities, different churches. But a few celebrities have been through and also called us to give us their money.
And the biggest challenge in figuring all this out is what?
So the hardest of all was the PPE crisis, getting PPE to all 50 states, because we were dealing with governments and we were dealing with corruption and crooks. And there is no bigger place for stealing, fraud, and corruption than relief work.
And you were in the middle of all that with
COVID, even
yeah.
now. No,
yeah.
In any situation, there is no bigger place for theft and corruption than relief work, because you're moving millions of dollars. You're doing multi-million-dollar deals in a day. You're doing a pop-up startup. So like, for example, with PPE, I'm negotiating with a person who has a warehouse of $13 million of hazmat suits, and I'm negotiating with Andrew Cuomo's office to get them there in 36 hours. To quote Michael, my partner, he said, Bethenny, you're gonna kill me. I'm gonna jump off a balcony. Because we were doing a $13 million deal with letters of intent, also vetting, seeing that the aid's not counterfeit, like, So you got to be a straight gangster. You got to be like a real hustler. And my partner is the same. He's built major houses. He used to be a nightclub promoter. He changed his entire life. And so the combination is incomparable. You can't put someone with a khaki pair of pants and a golf shirt and a cup of coffee up against us. I mean, it's the not around crew. I work harder on that than I do on things that I'm really working on business-wise. And I get in the zone. But when I'm in the zone, it's not feeling like I'm all touchy-feely, compassionate. It's just feeling like I want to get done. I'm going to do this. And I can like really do it better than anyone else. And I can like make it happen. And I can put this superhero cape on and raise money and have these billionaires that you know of, you've heard of all of them, reach out to me to just hand me money with no obligation, with no credit, with no pamphlet, with no rubber chicken dinner, with no bullshit, no one performing. That is real.
How about coolest call you've ever gotten on that front?
There's been Matthew McConaughey and Billy Joel and every celebrity you could ever name. I mean, even just like Eva Longoria coming last week through the warehouse to get aid, Zoe Saldana and her family, who was very nice to thank us coming through. But like, I took two very high-profile people on missions to Puerto Rico. And this is the thing. Back then, we were like the stepchildren. We just wanted the money to help the people. And so we would let these other people take all the credit because we didn't care. Like they would just act like this was their, now I'm like, no. You come through, you'll be telling people where you came through, because you're not going to go post a link and an oil-soaked koala bear. It's a cute picture with a sad song as a celebrity who has no idea where this money is going. Go take money, then come to us to bail you out of it. No more of that either.